want to talk to you from the thought, desperate for deliverance. Desperate for deliverance. Over the last few months, I have really been thinking about how we major on minors and omit what's really important in life. We spend our energy fussing and fighting and clamoring over stuff that really, in the ultimate scheme of things, doesn't even really matter. I'm reminded of a childhood nursery rhyme that I learned in elementary school. It went something like this: Pussycat, pussycat, where have you been? I've been to London to see the Queen. Pussycat, pussycat, what did you there? I frightened a little mouse under a chair. And the moral of that nursery rhyme is this: the pussycat started out with a major idea in mind and ended up pursuing only that which was minor. He went to see the Queen, but ended up seeing a mouse. He majored on minors and omitted that which was really important. And many of us are living our lives just like the pussycat. We are majoring on minors, but we are accomplishing absolutely nothing in this life. Touch a neighbor and say, what's your major? I don't know who you are, but there's somebody here this morning. You are tired of majoring on minors. You're tired of the merry-go-round of life, where you're going round and ending up in the same place that you started. What's your major? Such was the case here in this text as we pick it up and consider the life of Mr. Zacchaeus. His name meant pure. His name meant righteous. That's what his mama and daddy called him when he was a little boy. But Zacchaeus had failed to live out what the meaning of his name really meant. He did not live up to any of his mother's and daddy's expectations. Zacchaeus, he grew up insecure. He was a little short man. Y'all gonna work with me for a little while? People had issued all kind of little man syndrome jokes about him. They laughed at him and they called him out of his name. He was the butt of every short joke in school. And then one day, the Roman government issued him an opportunity, offered him a job to become a tax collector. It was not considered a noble job. As a matter of fact, it was a dirty job. It was a job that was filled with temptation. Because you see, as a tax collector, you had an opportunity to collect taxes from the people and give the government, the IRS, if you will, their share. But the tax collector could become rich. My brother works for the IRS. He knows what I'm talking about. You could become rich collecting more from the people than they really owed the government. And the people hated tax collectors because they knew that the tax collector would be collecting more than that they owed. And if you didn't have any money, the tax collector would take your house, put a lien on your car, sell your stuff, and become richer because you're poorer. Being a tax collector, it was not the kind of job that any noble person would even accept. But Zacchaeus, somebody say Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus, the man who had been the butt of all of the jokes all of his life, found himself in a vulnerable predicament with low self-esteem. He had always been criticized, left out, and looked over. Now he's about to get an offer that he cannot refuse. So when the offer to become a tax collector came his way, he saw it as a way of finally being respected, finally having some power, finally having some authority. Maybe this was an opportunity for Zacchaeus to get back at some of the folk who had talked about him in the past, maybe his authority and his power and his uniform would suddenly get him some attention from the women who used to turn him down. Zacchaeus was vulnerable. He was in a desperate situation, and he longed to be loved, valued, and respected. Who am I talking to this morning? So he accepted an offer that he would otherwise turn away. Be careful. This is what I want to tell you. Be careful of the offers that you accept today. Just because you don't have anybody doesn't mean you got to accept anybody. Say amen, somebody. Just because you ain't got nothing don't mean you have to accept anything that anybody dishes out to you. Be careful. Just because John don't like you doesn't mean that Jimmy won't love you. Be careful now. Just because you don't have any money doesn't mean you got to succumb to selling crack cocaine. Talk to me this morning. But here's what you need to do. Swallow your pride. Trust in the Lord, and the Lord will make a way somehow. I feel my help right now. All I'm trying to tell you is this. You don't have to settle for anything. Touch a neighbor and say, stop settling. And I understand that you've been rejected all of your life, and you've been the underdog all of your days. Stuff that you would not ordinarily agree with has now suddenly become quite appealing to you. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I'm going to talk to you until you get the message. When you are desperate, let me tell you something. When you're desperate, you forget about things that used to be important. You forget and start doing stuff that you swore you would never do. You lose sight of what's really important. You start majoring on what it looks like instead of what it really is. Come on, talk to me. The deep wounds, while you majoring on what it looks like, the deep wounds and scars of your past are still deeply embedded down on the inside of you. How many of y'all know that you can have fortune and fame, accolades, and all kind of certificates, degrees, and plaques on your wall and still be broken and crying in the midnight hours of life? Why? Why are you crying, and why are you still weeping with all of your trappings, with all of your accolades, with all of your stuff? Why are you still weeping? I'll tell you why. Because there's a void in your life that stuff can't satisfy. There's a void in your life that money can't massage, that even a man or a woman cannot feel. Somebody say amen. Something is missing. Touch a neighbor and say, what's missing in your life? Look at Zacchaeus. He was now a rich man on the outside, but he was still broke and empty on the inside. And with all of his money, with all of his popularity, he finds himself desperate for deliverance. He was like those lepers at the gate, or he was like that woman at the well, or he was like the woman with an issue of blood. He was desperate. He was desperate for somebody to fill the void, for somebody to erase the guilt of his life. He was desperate for somebody, anybody, who could heal his broken heart. I wonder, is it anybody here desperate for somebody who can fill the void in your life, who can erase your guilt, and who can heal your broken heart? Well, let me move on. Zacchaeus would have me tell you, if you're broken and if there's a void in your life, Zacchaeus would have me tell you, there's hope for you. Look at the text. One day Jesus was passing through Jericho, and Zacchaeus was in the city. And you know what he was looking for? He was looking for a healing. He was looking for Jesus. And the text says he sought to see Jesus, who he was. In other words, Zacchaeus had heard about Jesus, but he had never met the man for himself. Why have not you met him, Mr. Zacchaeus? I'll tell you, says Zacchaeus, I've been too busy. I've been busy working and collecting taxes. I've been busy making money and hanging out at the club. I've been busy drinking whiskey and smoking weed. I've been busy hanging out with the crowd and trying to keep up with the Joneses. I've been busy looking for somebody to accept value and appreciate me. I've been busy majoring on minors and omitting what's really important in life. And some of us here, you need to stop being so busy majoring on minor. When is the last time you told your loved one that you love them? Don't wait too late. Oh, that's important, but you ought to tell them right now how much you care. You're too busy running with the Joneses, and they broke just like you. You're too busy hanging out with the in crowd, trying to close the next deal, trying to chase the mighty dollar. You're struggling to be valued, accepted, and appreciated. But let me help you now. You just need to know that you are, whether they accept you or not, God says you fearfully and wonderfully made. Stop omitting what's important and get to know the one who can fix your situation and mend your broken heart. Let me tell you what you need to do. You need to take a page out of Mr. Zacchaeus' book, and I won't be much longer. What did Zacchaeus do? The text says, first of all, he sought to see Jesus. Somebody say he sought him. He sought to see Jesus, but he was having difficulty seeing him because of the crowd and because of his height. But Zacchaeus was hungry for deliverance, and he refused to let anything or anybody stop him from getting what he came for. He refused to let the crowd stand in his way. He refused to let his height block his view. This is what he did. The text says he climbed up into a sycamore tree. Touch your neighbor and say, sometimes you gotta climb up. Climbed up in a sycamore tree, and he refused to come down until Jesus passed by. I feel like preaching, y'all. Sometimes you just gotta flat-foot refuse to let anything or anybody stand in your way and keep you from getting your divine deliverance. I wonder, is it anybody here? Don't fool me. I wonder, is it anybody here desperate to be delivered, desperate to get out of the rut that you're in right now, desperate to stop crying in the midnight hour, desperate to find some joy, desperate to find some peace, desperate to see Jesus? Well, you may need, if you're desperate, you may need to get away from the crowd. Climb up a sycamore tree. And when you get there, just wait on Jesus. Say amen. In other words, you may have to step out of your comfort zone. You may have to make a sacrifice and do something that you ain't never done in your life. And it doesn't matter who laughs at you, because if the truth be told, they need to be delivered just like you. Zacchaeus was desperate, and look at what he did. This high-ranking, a money suit wearing, feared tax collector. Here he is sprinting past the crowd, climbing up a tree, messing up his suit, scarring up his shoes, leaves falling in his hair, fingers getting sticky from the sycamore substance. And he didn't care what nobody thought about him. He was desperate. Somebody say he was desperate. He didn't care about his reputation. He was desperate to see the master. And he was willing to wait on Jesus because he had confidence that some way, somehow, Jesus would show up. Stick a pin right there, because I need to let somebody know that you can take confidence in knowing that Jesus will show up. If you wait on him, he gonna show up. Other folk will let you down. Loved ones will forsake you. Friends will turn their backs on you, but Jesus will show up. So I want to tell you, I don't care what you're dealing with, just wait on the man. Just wait on him. Wait. I said wait on him. Wait when it's uncomfortable. Wait when they laugh at you. Wait when it feels like the branches of your life are about to break. Wait when you can't see him. Wait when you can't trust him. Wait when you can't feel him. Wait when you can't trace him. Wait when it doesn't feel like he's nowhere around. And I guarantee you that he will show up. He will come to your rescue. Tell somebody, wait on him. Tell your other neighbor, he will show up. Yes, he will. I ain't telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. He will show up. He showed up in my life so many times before. He will show up. He showed up for those Hebrew boys in that fiery furnace. He will show up. He showed up for Daniel when they threw him in the lion's den. He will show up. He showed up for Esther when she went in to see the king. He will show up. He showed up for the Israelites when they were trapped at the Red Sea. God will show up. He showed up for that woman with the issue of blood. And he showed up for me when I knelt down beside my dying mother's bedside. God will. Yes, he will. God will show up. He'll show up for you. A text declares, as I hurry to a close, the text declares that he showed up. He came to the place where Zacchaeus was. And the Bible says when he got there, he looked up and he saw Zacchaeus up there in the sycamore tree. And as I meditated on the text, I asked myself a question. What made Jesus stop at that tree? What made Jesus look up in that tree? Was it by accident? Well, it wasn't by accident. I tell you what it was. He stopped at that tree because he knew that Zacchaeus was up there. He knew that Zacchaeus was up there desperate for divine deliverance. And he knew that Mr. Zacchaeus was ready to do whatever it took to be delivered from a broken and painful life. So he stopped at that tree where Zacchaeus, who am I talking to this morning? I got a feeling God has stopped at your tree. He stopped at the tree where Zacchaeus was waiting, and he extended Zacchaeus a healing invitation. He said to Zacchaeus, Zacchaeus, I see you up there. Zacchaeus, the whole crowd is trying to touch me, but I'm at your tree. I came just for you, Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus, I need you to make haste and come on down. Make haste and come down, for today, y'all don't hear me, for today, I'm going home with you. Today, I gotta abide at your house. Today, I want to go home with you. Today, I must go home with you. Today, it's important that I abide at your house. He says, I see you on the outside. You're looking good on the outside, Zacchaeus, and you're all dressed up. But I need to go to the intimate place of your life. I need to go to the private quarters where you hang out. I need to go to the place where the crowds don't know about. I need to go to the place where you cry in the midnight hour. Who am I talking to this morning? I want to go with you, Zacchaeus, because I know you're all jacked up. I want to go to the painful place in your life. I want to go to that place that you don't tell anybody about. Lord, have mercy. God says to somebody, I want to go to that place. He says to Zacchaeus, I know it's not a pretty sight where you really live, but that's all right. I know your stuff is all out of order, but that's all right. I know you got credit card debt out the yang, but that's all right. I know you're slipping out in the midnight hour, but I want to go home with you. I want to go anyway. As a matter of fact, Zacchaeus, if other folk knew who you really was, they wouldn't want to follow you anywhere. But oh, Zacchaeus, I want to go home with you. Good God Almighty. And not only do I want to go, I've got to go. And when I get there, I won't judge you. I won't ask you any questions. And I'm not going just to see what you've been doing, because I already know where you live. Y'all don't hear me. The only reason God was saying to Zacchaeus, the only reason I want to go home with you is to fix whatever is broken in your life. Touch your neighbor and say, neighbor, oh neighbor, whatever is broken, God wants to fix it. He said, Zacchaeus, make haste, come down, because today, somebody shout today. He said, today is your day. I gotta abide at your house. And I don't know who you are, but God told me that somebody here is in a sycamore situation. And you're tired, you've tried some of everything, but you still don't have any joy. And you're tired of this merry-go-round of life where you're going round and round, but you ain't getting nowhere. You're tired of that facade that you're wearing. You're looking good on the outside, but you jacked up on the inside. You're tired of being a pussycat, majoring on minors and not truly feeling like you're getting anywhere. Pussycat, pussycat, where have you been? I've been to London to see the Queen. Pussycat, pussycat, what did you there? I frightened a little mouse under a chair. Well, the good news is this. Jesus is standing at your sycamore tree, and he sees you, and he knows where you are, and he knows how you feel, and he extends to you the same invitation. He says, let me go home with you so I can fix whatever is broken in your life. I hear him saying, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I hear him saying to somebody, and he's calling you by your name. He says, Tommy, make haste and come down, for today I must abide at your house. I hear him saying, Deborah, come down. Come down, make haste, for today I must abide at your house. Come down, Rosalind. I want to abide at your house. Come down, Tawana. I want to go home with you for your deliverance. You've got to come down so I can go into that secret place of your life. And I don't want to just come to see you. I know you quite well. I only want to come to fix and heal those broken places of your very life. Pussycat, pussycat, where have you been? I've been to London to see the Queen. Pussycat, pussycat, what did you there? Oh, I frightened a little mouse under a chair. All I'm saying to you this morning, it's time to stop playing pussycat games. It's time to get off the merry-go-round of life. Stop majoring on minors. Come down, come down. Tell 3 people, come on down. Come down, come down, come down, come on down. Come down off your high horse of pride. Come down off of that image that you're holding up. Come down, stop wearing that facade. Stop majoring on minors. Come down from that sycamore situation and allow my God to go home with you. Pussycat, pussycat, where have you been? Been to London to see the Queen. Pussycat, pussycat, what did you there? I frightened a mouse under a chair. You're bigger than that. You're better than that. Stop majoring on minors and do something where you'll hear God say, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. Now let me make you ruler over much. Stop majoring on minors. Stand in the house all over this building. Stand today. All I came to tell you this morning is that you're frustrated with all of the stuff that you're doing.